Hello everybody, and today we're taking a look at the Hot Toys Sideshow exclusive Cable as seen in Deadpool 2, and unfortunately not Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, I'll be fully honest, I did buy this because of Deadpool and Wolverine, and I want to build that whole collection. And although he's not in it, I'm not really one who cares for accuracy, but this face though, I do want it. So we'll get the weirdness out of the way, and we'll open him up, because I haven't looked at him yet. Even though I've had this box for a teeny bit now. I've been waiting for camera time. And I'm very excited to see how this actually looks without all the plastic. But as we can see, there's a lot of bits and bobs. On the back you get like a nice little actual photo of Cable. It's not just like a photo of Josh Brolin. So we get to see what we're working with. Oh, we do get to see what we're working with. I mean, yeah, we get a nice little artwork, and we'll just zoom out just so you can see it a bit better. But tell you what, I'll give you a reason. I'm just so interested to see how this arm works. Obviously it'll work like an arm, it'll bend and such, but I just want to, I think this is going to look so fun. So yeah, let's stop looking at boxes. Oh yeah, that's definitely not sad at all. Let's actually get this bad boy open. So tray 1 comes with a psionic shield. That's just the extra that comes with the Sideshow exclusive. There was no difference in price, but they had this on the Sideshow store, so I picked up the one with the little extra shield. Why not? And then the rest is just all this shenanigans. Lots of hands, some button cells, which I imagine are for his eyes. And this just looks like that's immediately what I'm going for. I promise I'm not. But so far, there's a lot of plastic I need to rip off. So next up we have this set of weapons. We have this modified rifle, which looks like a Chris Vector, I believe, with like Tommy gun bits, and then just load of gobbledygook put on top. Then pistols, knives, bits to go on the body. I don't know if that is his wrist, time travel device. But yep. Now what's great for telling the hands apart is one has skin tone texture and then one has robotic texture. So for a blind man like me, where these are absolutely completely different, that's going to be so easy. So quickly getting this guy out of the packaging and taking all the plastic off, which this dude came with a lot of plastic and protection. We can take a little close look at him, and we can already see in this direction why a lot of people either stayed away from this guy or a little bit upset by this guy, because when it comes to Hot Toys, nobody likes those seams. And especially for this case, because on the skin tone arm, it is quite egregious. But also, the range of motion you get from them, I imagine, is not magical. But, saying that, I think he's such a pretty boy. Also, Josh Brolin is, so that probably helps. But I quite enjoy this figure already, even without putting all the stuff on. So let's get closer in and have a good look. The custom work they did for the arm, and then also the seams to connect this arm to the body, which we'll see. Well, you can actually see poking through under his neck there, is absolutely stunning. And also, firstly, it hides the joint, or it integrates the joint into the seam work, which is really nice. But all this texture and detail is stunning to look at. That just stands right out. And it kind of goes... It's all the way around. So many gaskets and like wires. And it slightly breaks up here. This is probably where you can see the seam the most, also with the little elbow sticking out. But considering it is a robotic arm, having seams and joints and things that move isn't too bad. Now we can see here also, he's kind of got like the Doc Ock neck thing going on, which goes down the entire body. But to be honest, I'm not going to strip this guy, even though I would very much like to. I'm not going to strip this guy to show off the body, because that seems like a lot of work, and knowing me, I probably can't get this to look as pristine as it does right now. And also, I've quickly added the little teddy bear onto his back. It has a little clip, which is nice little dangly. And for the head sculpt to work, because I imagine it's his light up yellow psionic technopath, or telepath, whatever his power set is, whatever they call it in this version, to get that going, if you rip his head off, it works like a little clip, and then You just undo them here and then we'll put them in. Now, I don't know how well these button cell batteries are going to work because they've been in here since, I assume, when the figure was made, which could honestly be 2018. I can't remember off the top of my head, but we're going to find out. So let's quickly get into this. So here it is with the light up feature on, and as you can see, it's not the brightest thing on the planet, but it is a nice little accent for your photography. And yeah, without the head on, that's how bright it is. So, not a lot gets through that eye, but hey, at least it's there. Now, back to the suit. Well, I guess tactical clothes. You can see his tactical vest here with all the molly and all the like carabiners on, which I think looks really cool. And I think it's technically functional with some Velcro there, so you can kind of put on whatever you want if you want to customize them. He's got his grenade pouches there. They've got some nice little weathering on them. And then the back, it's the exact same type of thing. It is just a tactical vest. It's not exactly a superhero suit. But the tailoring of the shirt and the pants, well, I said, God, can you tell I watch, like, Americans? The trousers, his tactical trousers, this nice little camo belt. It all looks like he stole it from a bunch of rednecks, which in the film he did. So that's kind of fun. But yeah, there's so much, like, extra detail in the tailoring, which I really like. This is a pleather piece by the feel of it, so this will fall apart in time, but it hasn't yet. That's a good sign. Now, this version of Cable is known for having a spicy little trench coat. I guess it is a trench coat or like a trench poncho. So we're going to really quickly put it on and see how it looks. Now, there's different ways you can do it. But just for the sake of ease, I'm just going to launch it on like this. And now he is a member from Assassin's Creed. Shout out to Will Smith's movies. No, continuing. Now this can kind of be positioned however you want because there's wires within the little tactical poncho. So you can either have it behind him like a cape or you can have it over his shoulder. So you can kind of get dynamic with how you want. And it's quite nice and flowy, which I quite like the look of, to be honest. But obviously it's covering up a lot of the details, or for some people who don't like this, the seam lines, it's covering up a lot of the seam lines. So it really does. That just looks, yeah. This is probably one of those things that takes a lot of futzing to get right. Yeah, he looks like a witch man. But yeah, it's one of those things it's going to take a lot of futzing and probably heating and water to get right. But, you know, I keep saying it's one of those things. But yeah, if you mess with it, you can get it to look nice. Or, you know, the alternative. You can just have it put back, and now you can see that. I really like the head sculpt, but divisive head sculpt. Speaking of head sculpt, Hot Toys always do aged head sculpts a lot better because there's so much more texture to put in. You can kind of see the age lines and the different like spots of tans and spots and wrinkles, and then also the salt and pepper in the hair. I really like the head sculpt, but it's obviously, some people might not see Josh Brolin everywhere. And I will say the mouth choice is interesting. He's either mid-talk or like mid-grumble. But I do like it, and that scar looks so cool. In certain angles, you get different vibes. Obviously, this is before where every single figure came with separate rolling eyeballs. We're kind of in that era right now. But especially if one's lit up, you kind of don't really need it. But it shows a lot of different expressions, no matter how you look at it. So, quite like that. So, here's all of his armaments. Grenade launchers, pistols, temporal displacement units or time travel devices, knives, mags, and goodies. We're going to try and get all this loaded up on the boy. See how he looks strapped up to the nines, baby. Oh, also, side note, while I was messing about with the guns and putting everything in, it has a magnet to keep it in place. Very nice. Very cool. Very cool. So the magazine's attached to his body, and like the magazine holders attached to his body with actual clips that go onto the rig system, which in theory is a cool idea and adds a little bit of realism, but at the same time that's extremely difficult to put on. So if these don't go on my figure ever in its lifetime, now we know why. You could argue magnets would be better, but is what it is. Off the top of my head, I can't remember if that's where the knife goes, but it worked well enough to slip it there. So, staying there. It's a vibe. I can't remember if it's supposed to be there.
You do you, Cable. You have a nice nap. It's fine. So his time travel device first slips over his peg, and then you can put it on any single hand that he has, which is quite nice, either side. I've put it on his human hand, because why not? But yeah, it just slips over. That's an easy enough, and then that can just go on any hand or no hand, or you can give it to a Deadpool. Your decision, really.
And it's not Cable without his massive gun. Like, that is huge. They have turned a Chris Vector into an abomination of God. Like, they've turned that into an LMG with a Tommy gun stock. Like, it's something else. And it's so absurd, and I adore it. So yeah, that's a must-have accessory. I can already tell you as I'm falling in love with this figure the more accessories I give to him. It's so cinematic. He's so fun to look at. Just all those little extra details on an otherwise quite simple body, but it's kind of like contrasted with the super high-tech arm, and I love it. So yeah, once he's relatively fully stocked up, and you can kind of see all the bits and bobs on him, without the magazines, because that just was not happening. He looks like a force to be reckoned with. He looks like a techno-babbly nonsense man, and I couldn't be happier. Now, when I started deciding that I was going to pick up all the Deadpool and Wolverine figures in the line, pretty much anyway, I was like, I want to also expand into the other Deadpool line, because, one, I love Cable, both like in the X-Men and also in Deadpool 2, but two, it's like, my collection isn't based off like accuracy, so if I want the Deadpool and Wolverine figures next to Cable, I'm definitely going to do that. So that's what I'm definitely going to do. And I am very happy with this decision. Now, as you can see already, he's definitely not perfect, but there's so much going on here to like. So why not just send it and just go for it? Deadpool 2 is kind of that weird middle child that nobody really talks about, and as I can relate, I really like Deadpool 2. Jokes aside, I just love Deadpool 2. I love the Deadpool franchise. As you can tell by this channel, if you go to my shorts page, that's Deadpool is all it really is at the minute, and it's now slowly turning over into the videos as well. But you know, that's a problem for another day we can sort out. But the details on things that really shouldn't be too detailed, like the gun has so many barrels. It has a 50 cal muzzle brake on it. Like, that's just great. That's just great design. Why does a Chris Vector that was designed to have like low recoil have a 50 cal muzzle brake? Because he can. And if he can, he will. No, it's beautiful. The man out of time. Oh my god, is he Captain America? So the biggest elephant in the room with this figure is that it's the joints. So you can see his joints, but also that is not much range of articulation. Even Cable agrees. He's given. So yeah, when this figure released, nobody was really happy with the fact that there's visible joints and elbow joints and such. Other than that, it is a regular Hot Toys body, so the articulation is quite decent. But these arms, not many people were happy with. So to this day, he is still in the Sideshow store. He is still very easy to buy, and he often goes on sale, which I do believe I got this guy on sale. Speaking of, funnily enough. So that's usually a bad sign. If basically it's rare that you get a Hot Toys peg warmer, but when you do, this is probably one of them. And it's certain reasons like this. But the texture on the arm is incredible. You can see all the sculpt work in there. But the problem is that visible joint. Not a lot of collectors really like that. Because I collect things with a lot of joints and visible stuff, I don't really... I like to be perfectly honest, I don't care at all. So that's why I was happy to buy it. But people would like seamless arms and like silicone arms. So if they were ever to do a V2 or if we showed up in Deadpool and Wolverine, you'd probably get seamless arms. But yeah, because he didn't test well in the focus groups, you'll never see that, kids. Also, I promise he's not grabbing the junk, he's grabbing the grenade launcher that's in the pleather. I promise. I promise that was not the intention, guys. Also, the reason why he keeps falling over in this video, or if I don't know if I've cut out all the falls and stuff, it's because for some reason this is extremely loose. Like, I mean, you've just seen that super loose the entire time from getting it out of the box. I don't know if that's a QC issue or if I've done something to it. It's more likely I've done something to it, but that's something to keep in mind. What's with Deadpool figures and the ankles going? crazy. I've attempted to fix the issue. If he falls over, we know it's not fixed. But for now, you might be able to stand, sir. So on the plus side, his hands are extremely malleable. One, to put on and off, but two, to also put guns in his hands. But also, as you can see here, if we focus that up, the gun moves. It articulates, so that also means the mag will come out as well, I imagine. And yeah, it's a lovely design. There's a lot of weathering on there. And also just fits his ensemble quite nicely for something that for most people will just go in his holster behind the grenade launcher. But, you know, I always love a good pistol, so it's quite nice. Now, as I mentioned earlier, he comes with something that I have neglected to show till now. Joys have had the Sideshow exclusive, which actually didn't change price at all. So, I mean, may as well pick up the Sideshow exclusive one. I'm assuming that goes through his wrist. Let's find out. I tell you what, yeah, that was quite easy to put on if you put it on the right hands. I don't know if it goes on the robotic hand or the human hand or either. But yeah, that works quite nicely. And when you have the light up effect on as well, that's quite nice. I thought it'd be like a clamshell plastic, like a cheap plastic, but no, it's nice and sturdy. So if you drop it, it probably won't break, which is quite nice. Or like bend. But yeah, it's a nice effect for like no additional cost. I don't know if it was the same way at launch. But yeah, that's fun. Tell you what, the darker it gets, the more menacing that looks. Which, I mean, it's probably just because it's dim light, but very effective, very nice. Yeah, to get it to work, I've put it around the wrist peg, and it's like a soft, rubbery plastic connected to a hard piece of plastic, and I've used a hand that doesn't have a glove on, so it doesn't, like, overlap with the connection point, and that seems to work rather well. Personally, the more I mess with this guy, the more I think the positives outweigh the negatives. I think this is a really fun figure, but for the price point, I understand why a lot of people stayed away or bought other things, because for what you could get this at, you could get like a clone trooper, or you could get something with maybe a bit more going on, whereas this guy is just like a cloth body with bits of plastic on top, which I guess all 1/6 figures are. But because of his tailoring and because of what he's made of, you could leave him in the craziest pose and it's perfectly fine. So that's always good. But because of the arms, the articulation isn't insane, and they're visible depending on what pose you get him in. So like if I hide him like there, it's kind of hard to see the seam lines. Really depends how you pose him. So yeah, theoretically I could leave him in this pose for the rest of his life, absolutely stretched out, going crazy, doing poses, and nothing will happen to him just because of the materials he's worn. But for superhero figures, that's kind of a luxury. A lot of them have like screen printing and really tight suits that if you stretch them out over time, they'll rip easy. This guy ain't going nowhere, son. He's stretched forever. That sounds really weird even for me. But yeah, you can high kick Russell to the day he croaks it, so that's always good. And let's be real, Van Damme's got nothing on this. You know, for a guy in his 50s, that's solid. So, and you could leave him like that. I don't know why you'd want to, but you absolutely could. That's like a proper eye papi stance. So, yeah, the articulation is great leg one. And if you go a teeny bit too far in the articulation, his arm pops out, but it doesn't break, so that's always good. But I think that kind of indicates more that this was an extra piece added on top of a standard Hot Toys body, just because of how easy that popped out.
Winter Soldier at the end of Civil War be like...
So because the bulletproof vest, or the vest carrier, it doesn't actually have a plate in there, obviously. His articulation is slightly limited in the torso, but you still can get him to move forward and back, just because it's not fully encasing his torso, and it's only cloth, it's not a full vest. But for realism, you probably don't want your vest to bend, because, you know, it's a plate carrier. It would have a plate in there. But it does look good regardless. And here's how the vest looks, also with articulation, when he, you know, bends backwards. He does have quite a bit more back than he does forward. But, yeah, and the way it bends, it's bending from, like, the lower to the top, so it means the vest can move freely. So articulation-wise, it's actually not too bad. It's just those arms, I suppose. And also, if you move his robotic arm too much, it falls off. He's like a robot leper, I guess. Then again, I guess that's what the Technovirus is, I suppose. So a lot of people might see this as a bland figure, especially in terms of colours, but honestly, in terms of like the different gunmetal types, the different greys, the different reds, and then the slight the slight variations in colour, I think, make this a really interesting suit design. And then when you put the trench coat on top, or the tactical poncho on top, especially with the added grenades and like all the added extra pieces, it makes him pop really nicely. And he's quite a different figure compared to what a lot of people might have in the collection, especially with the robotic arm. So he stands out in his own right, which we're probably going to have a look in a minute when we put him next to a very bright boy. This is definitely a figure I'd recommend collectors to look at, but it is also one of those figures where I can fully see people turning down. One, it's been out for quite a few years, so I know what people are thinking, because, you know, it's very vocal. But this is a figure that, for me, was a must-get once I could afford it, and I had to see it. When I saw it was on sale, I was like, yes. And it hasn't let me down, I'm not going to lie. There's so much extra details I wasn't expecting. There's so many things that stand out for me, like the details on the hands. For the ones that aren't just with the gloves, so I've got a robotic hand on that doesn't have a glove on. And it adds so much. And I love it. But yeah, I can really see a lot of people not liking this head sculpt. And to be honest, I do understand why. But I can see Josh Brolin in there. But I've mentioned this many times before, and I'll mention it again. I am legally blind, so taking my visual preferences is probably not the best idea. There's so much to look at with this figure, also with all the accessories on, and there's so much colour going on, like especially with the breakup with the wood and the camo tape, and then all the bits and bobs. So he isn't a bland figure, and also you can leave him however you want forever, so these are massive pluses in its favour. I guess the biggest issue for people will be head sculpt and button cell batteries, and then obviously it's now covered up. I've covered up the arm completely. They're collectors. I've sorted it for you. But yeah, the visible joints that are only single jointed, which, you know, can make it a bit of a struggle for posers, I suppose. I'm really defending this figure. I can't tell if it's just because I'm trying to justify my purchase or if I'm wanting more people to buy. I don't know what this is. I just think it's neat. So I would say that the accessory for his time travel device would probably be more for the gloved hands, because if I really quickly just overexpose a section here with my light, it's really loose for the techno hand here without a glove, but you saw earlier in the video it was nice and flush with the gloved hand. But or you could just move it up to his wrist to make it more like an actual watch, and then it's fine. So more up to your preference. I think I also remember a complaint being that he was quite skinny, like the body mold that they quite use is quite skinny. And I will say that, yeah, Josh Brolin did get absolutely huge for this film. He was a bulky boy. So I do understand that one. I do love me some girth. Recheck. I do love me some muscular men. I respect the work that the actors put in to get their superhero bodies, or their superhero robo bodies. But to be honest, I kind of like how this looks. Now, if you gave me a bigger Cable, I would be very happy, and I'd buy that too. So, you know what, Hot Toys? Give me a girthy Cable. Oh God, I need help. Just like Cable needed help from his friends like Deadpool. There we go, we brought it back round, didn't we? Now, for comparisons, here's the Hot Toys Deadpool next to the Hot Toys Cable. Now, Josh Brolin is small. Josh Brolin is smaller than Ryan Reynolds in real life. Josh Brolin is the tallest man in the world. Like me, he's a short king for real, no cap, no lie. Is that what the Gen Z kidders say? I don't know. But he is shorter in Hot Toys form, I wouldn't say by a lot. But also, this is the Deadpool and Wolverine figure, this is not the Deadpool 2 figure. So the scales might be different because of that. And also the colour is very different. He is a lot brighter, but despite this, I think these look quite nice next to each other. I could be biased, and it's because I could have spent hundreds of dollars and pounds to get this to look the way it does. Quite frankly, my dears, don't give a shit. I think this looks beautiful, and I want more, so I'm going to get more. But yes, this is how they look next to each other. Here's what Rob Liefeld can't draw. And yeah, these look great. So when I do shoot next to each other, it's not going to be accurate, it's not going to be canon. A lot of photographers and a lot of collectors really do care about that. At this point, I couldn't give a shit, I just like what I like. And I want more Cable, so I get more Cable. I know Deadpool 2 didn't do too well, and also he would be so much added extra to the budget. And Deadpool and Wolverine is still one of my favourite films. But I would have liked to see Cable in it. I would have liked to see... It's one of those things where, do you want it to be a Deadpool 3 or do you want it to be Deadpool and Wolverine? I guess if it was Deadpool 3, there'd be things like Cable and like Colossus in more depth. But what we got, oof, I love it. But you know, this is not that type of channel. Well, it probably will be that type of channel. But we're talking about figures right now. So, let's get the final thoughts. So, to wrap this up, when I buy figures for a collection, it's not just because of the figure itself. I have definitely bought figures because of that. But sometimes it's more because of what they represent and what they were in. And for Cable, at first, it was definitely more for that. It was more so I could add to my Deadpool and Wolverine collection. I know he wasn't in it, and I know that makes no sense, and I know you're spending a lot of money to fill a hole that he wasn't even in to begin with. But seeing them next to each other, I absolutely adore. And also, having this figure is just, it's sick. Like, why not? I'm an absolute huge X-Men fan, both comics and films, and seeing Cable on the big screen, especially when it's somebody as high caliber as Josh Brolin, I thought it was great. I love Deadpool 2. If we're going really serious with it, I prefer the extended cut. I prefer the jokes. I think a certain Willis Makes Movies would not agree, but he doesn't make movies anymore, so it's fine. It's not for debate anymore. But I love this figure, and I've apologized for it so many times this video already, quite early to begin with, and I've defended it quite a lot. And you know what? I'm going to keep continuing to do that because it's fucking beautiful, bro. And there's so many extra things I wasn't expecting it to come with, and it moves quite well. The arms don't, obviously, but who gives a flying feck? I wish I had more things to compare it with at the moment in time. I don't have the Lady Deadpool still, but I will get it eventually. And the rest of the Deadpool and Wolverine line haven't came, and I don't have any of the other Deadpool 2 or 1 figures, but that is something I'm looking into. But I did start with Cable, because Cable is so sick. And to be honest, I just want to see how the arm looked in person, and that arm is sick. So would I recommend it? Yes, but you've got to kind of know what you're getting into. Now, if you prefer fully seamless, fully like movie master, where like if you even pose it a teeny bit, it looks exactly like how it does in the film. That's kind of not what you're getting here. This is a lot more toyified, but it's fucking beautiful. I don't know if this video would persuade you, or if the Justin's Collection video would persuade you. That video definitely persuaded me, I'm not going to lie. So if you don't like this one, go check that one. But I am very happy with my purchase. I don't know if that says anything. So, yeah. So, if you want to see more videos like this, or if you want to see me talk about anything Deadpool related, either check out the shorts, subscribe, like all that random nonsense. But most people never get this far because I ramble way too long, and that's perfectly fine, that's understandable. But no, this is a great figure, and it's been great to talk about it. But also, it's been great to rant about Deadpool even more, or Deadpool related content, because good God, that content's good, bro. Eat that shit up all day. It's making me swear, it's making me cuss. I enjoyed that much. But no, Deadpool and Wolverine has definitely... Like, I love the 1 and 2 films so much, don't get us wrong. It's literally why I've bought a very expensive figure on it. But Deadpool and Wolverine, you know, definitely lit something under me, as you can tell by the channel. And if you only watch the videos, you probably can't just yet. But if you watch the shorts, good God, God help you all. But no, expect more. Long story short, expect more. But no, it's been great to be able to talk about it. So thank you all for that, and I hope you've enjoyed the figure. The production quality of this channel is very low because I spend all the money on the figures, not equipment. I just need you to know that real quick. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the photos. Hope you enjoyed the review. And if you have this figure, let me know what you think of this figure. Has it grown on you over time? Have you sold it? I know a lot of people buy and sell them. So have you done that yet? Let me know your thoughts. But I'm not selling this guy. I love it. So much love, my dudes. Bye-zy bye. And to quote a brilliant, very violent man, I guess dubstep never dies.